Okay.
Hi everyone, this is Prasoon here on my new experimental project, and today my first guest and a very old friend, Dipak Shodhan, is here, and instead of me giving a big story about who he is, I'm going to let him speak. I would just give a small introduction in terms of like how I know him. It was 10 years ago. I was absolutely new as a trainer, and I think we did one of the projects in Postpaid somewhere, and that's
Yes,
when
Hospet and I think Palakkad as well.
Palakkad and Postpaid. Okay, so that's where two projects that we did, and that's how we got acquainted. And after that, we didn't care about each other, and now we happen to meet again after.
Ouch.
I mean, it's just not on from your side, right? Did I do that?
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Yeah, that's life, man. Sometimes it
Yeah.
happens.
Happens.
Yeah. So and here we are connecting again. So Deepak, just let us know what happened after the trading, and we just got busy in our life, and I'm sure you explored a lot of interesting things. So just share.
Yeah. Thank you, Prasan, for having me. And it's wonderful to catch up. I think I bumped into you on Instagram, and that's how we got back in touch. We started talking about all the wonderful things we've been doing all these years.
Yeah.
So that led to planning up this kind of a project where we thought we'll talk to each other in this format. So let's see how this goes. I'm really excited for this. So after that training, after those trainings that we did, I got into trading financial markets. So while I was trading, I got an opportunity to start working for firms, brokerage firms in Dubai. Initially, I started off as a salesperson for said brokerage firm, one of the biggest brokerage firms in Dubai.
Okay.
Initially started off there, learned a lot from the traders that were there, and eventually was offered, since there was an opening over there in the trading department. So I was offered the opportunity to become a trader, and since then life's been a roller coaster ride. Just like the markets, prices go up and down. So after through that journey from there, I've experienced a lot with financial markets. I have taught over 1,000 people globally in how to trade financial markets, and started planning my exit coming back to India from Dubai. I wanted to have to start my own training academy. It's called Achievers Training Academy, where we teach people how to trade gold online. Generally, we will discuss about why I trade only gold and why you need to trade at all. So started off here now. We've been about the company's about 2 years now, and I have been actively running my training academy based in India for the past 7 months. Out of which it feels like 6 months we've been in lockdown. Feels like a really long time. So yeah, so excited to talk about all of that.
Sure. So in effect, I would say that got into sales part of the trading bit, and then moved into actual trader, and then learned the tips and tricks, I would say, and started on your own transferring such knowledge. So when it comes to trading, I know it's like a big vast ocean. There are many kind of trading. Like binary is one of those things, and you specifically mentioned into gold trading.
A lot of asset classes are there.
Oil, a lot of stuff, right? So why did you specifically choose gold as one of the commodities that you want to trade? And you can share something about the platform that you use to trade, because there's a little bit of confusion in India in terms of there. I mean, I am familiar with, let's say, binary options, so I kind of experiment. I do not trade at all. I experiment with one of the
Okay.
platform called IQ options and EQ options. These are the two
Okay.
platforms that I experiment with, just playing with demo accounts, to be honest. Didn't put a single
Uh-huh.
penny there. So like, and I do understand that in certain cases they say that you should be using a different platform which is suitable for India. Otherwise, you'll have a problem getting the money into the account and things like that. So since you
Yes.
do real time, I would like
Hmm.
to know about your idea and thoughts in terms of what platform do you use or what you recommend, or um, you know,
Yeah.
around that stuff.
Okay. So, a lot of important questions that people need to, people have when they are trying to get into trading. So let me start with what I do
Mm-hmm.
and my students do.
Sure.
So we trade on the international gold spot market.
Okay.
Okay. So what happens in international gold is that the market is 24 hours, starting from Sydney and Tokyo all the way till the close of Chicago Mercantile Exchange in the US. Till then, we have continuous price coming for gold, right?
Okay. Okay.
So this gives a continuous flow of data that we can analyze and then and trade. So the
Okay.
more data you have and the more continuous the data is, the better you can analyze the market and trade.
Deepak, I have a
But
question here,
when
which I believe that would also help the audience, which is you mentioned about
uh
spot market.
yes,
Yeah, could you go and give us an idea what is spot market before we go into the data part, please?
okay. Spot market is where there is no transfer of physical goods.
Mm-hmm.
It is a decentralized market where there is no transfer of physical goods. You are just investing in the price. When price goes from 1 to 2, you are investing in that particular price only. You are not expecting physical delivery of goods. So
Okay.
that's the spot market.
Okay.
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 So we just speculate on the price. Is the price going to go up or down? If the
And that's how
price
the data
we
is going to
in
help.
our analysis, yes.
Okay.
If in our analysis, if price is expected to go higher, then we would buy that particular asset.
Okay.
Let's say gold.
Mm-hmm.
If we are expecting price to come down, we would short sell the gold
Okay.
to make a profit, right?
Okay.
So this really helps with the continuous flow of data that we get when with international market. It really helps in analyzing the market and taking trades.
Mm-hmm.
But when trading Indian markets, what happens is that the market is open. I'm not very sure about the exact time, but I think by 3:30, morning 8:30 to afternoon evening 3:30, the markets are open, and after that it's shut.
Mm-hmm.
So by 3:30 in India, the UK market would have just started off,
Mm-hmm.
and the US market is way much later is when the
Absolutely.
US market opens.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where most of the action happens for gold, the
Okay.
UK market and the US market. So India's sort of the market timings is completely out of these two major global economies,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when India comes back the next day, there is going to be a huge gap in price because it will directly price itself to what happened in the US closing the previous day.
Okay.
So there is always a gap in price. So having gaps every day in price, you will not be able to clearly analyze where the price is actually going.
Okay.
So in that case, for long-term investments, it's okay. You are not really looking at daily price movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
For long-term investment, someone who wants to invest in gold for the long term, that will be a good idea to just invest in the Indian gold market, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to intraday trading, where we trade every day,
Mm-hmm.
that case it's not advisable to trade in the Indian market because by the time any sort of movement we are expecting from the UK and US market, India is not the market is not open at that point.
Okay. Fantastic. So, so when it comes to let's get into the part that you just started 6 to 7 months ago. You started a training institute. which really helps a lot of people like me who is interested
Yes.
in trading, uh,
Mm.
and
Yes.
you know, get to know about the market, understand the price mechanism. Playing with these apps, I understand there are indicators that people play with. There are tons and
Yes.
tons of information that YouTubers talk about. Okay, I use this, XYZ indicators, and someone else has used
Mm-hmm.
MACD, and a lot of things. So as a
Yeah.
beginner,
Yeah.
when you step in, it's like, oh my God, okay, where do I start? What I need to do? How do I understand these concepts? Uh, you know, are the basic questions that I, as an individual, had, because I stepped into this just because of one of my friend. He started
Mm-hmm.
trading using binary option, and he's making, like, he has a an individual target of making, let's say, 1,500 to 2,000 bucks a day, and the moment he achieves the target, he exits. So that is his strategy of
Mm-hmm.
playing. So I like, okay, that
Yeah.
sounds interesting. I have my work, I have free
Mm-hmm.
time, and probably this is an interesting step to go in, right? I think in
Yeah.
earlier conversation that you were saying the same thing. This is not your
Mm.
career. This is another way of acquiring an income, right? Uh,
Additional source of income.
yeah, additional source of income. So going back to the question, like, as a beginner, where do or the trading academy, how are we going to help a person like me to get into trading, and what kind of information or knowledge that you guys, or the support that you guys provide?
Yeah. So I'd like you to ask yourself, or anyone that's watching this, the first question you need to ask yourself is, would you invest or give your money to someone who is YouTube educated to become a trader? Would you go get yourself tested by a doctor who is YouTube educated, who learned how to diagnose diseases, watching YouTube or Google search, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you fly with a pilot who's learned how to fly on YouTube, right? Right. So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. That if you are not if you would not invest in someone who's just educated on Google and YouTube, getting knowledge from there, and not from any expert or who has had direct experience in the market, who's giving you the mentorship support, who's been through all of the situations in their particular field. If that is not there, then why would
I lost your audio. I lost your audio. Can you hear me?
hello, yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear now.
back.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you're
So
talking about.
when the audio sorry when when you would not invest in someone else who's got this education through Google and YouTube, which is free for everyone, why would you learn from there and invest your own money when you got education from there? So it's always important that you invest in the right kind of education from a professional trader, and you also make sure that you get proper mentorship support
Okay.
while you are getting educated.
Okay.
Because in any industry, now I became a trader not because I read a lot of books. Of course I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I got myself an CISI level 3 certification, or I studied for chartered market technician, any of these courses. It's not because any of that, because I had a good mentor in my previous firm that I was working for. He
Okay.
was an accomplished trader who was handling upwards of $50 million in trading equity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now being part of his team and learning directly from him, and the support, the mentorship support, his name is Vijay Valecha. So getting that kind of support from him really boosted my experience in the market, because all these quote unquote books, the let it be YouTube and Google, these are all information that has happened earlier. It's only a mentor can help you get information that is happening in the market right now, and how you can adapt your trading and your psychology of trading. So all of these things can be done only in real time and learn as we go. You cannot read about market psychology or in a book and expect to change the way you trade, right?
Absolutely. So,
So
could you
mentorship
share a
support is
story with your mentor? Anything that comes in your head, like how your mentor supported and how that is influencing you to be a mentor today? You know.
uh, see what happens. One of the craziest stories I'd like to share.
Okay.
So this was during I think 2013, early to mid 2013. There was a major Swiss bank news that hit the market. So the euro crisis was at peak at that time. Euro crisis is where the eurozone, a lot of these sick countries that were not able to manage while coming out of the global financial crisis in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
2007, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these small European countries got into a lot of debt along the way, and they were not able to sustain without
Okay.
the help or more debt from Germany and the euro zone
Okay.
from the European Central Bank. So this was the European debt crisis, which happened after the global financial crisis. So during the European debt crisis, the euro was weakening every day. The euro price was crashing,
Mm-hmm.
and the Swiss franc, the Swiss bank had pegged the value of Swiss franc to the euro. So the
Okay.
peg is where you fix the value of a particular currency with your currency and say that this currency price will always be maintained at a certain price. For example, like pegging, I would say in Dubai, the dollar and dirham, the currency of UAE, is pegged
Okay.
at so $1 is always maintained at 3.67 dirhams. So
Okay.
that's a peg.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not something that the government says and it happens magically. The
Mm-hmm.
central bank of that country has to continuously maintain the flow of money
Okay.
to maintain the value at that point. So when the euro price was continuously crashing down, the European Central Bank the Swiss bank was had to continuously devalue their currency to match with the European euro value.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were continuously doing that, they suddenly gave up at one point and said that, okay, no, we are going to change the peg. We're going to reduce the value of euro against the Swiss franc. So
Mm-hmm.
on that news, the euro currency fluctuated against all other currencies, against the dollar, against the pound, every other currency. The euro fluctuated massively. I'm talking 50%, 60% price move fluctuation happening.
Okay.
So it was one of the biggest things that had happened for many years since the global financial crisis. So during this time, a lot of brokerage firms, a lot of trading firms had massive losses. Many of them shut down even.
Mm-hmm.
But the firm that I was working for, we got through it. Uh, uh, we were all fine, and under the leadership and mentorship of Vijay, we were able to handle our clients better. We were able to give the right solutions to them so that they recovered from all of those losses that the clients might have had, and giving them the right advice and keeping them calm. Uh, because when suddenly such kind of movement happens, people get really panicked, right? So it really helped. Played a vital role in making sure that he is calm, making sure the team is calm, and making sure the team is able to keep clients calm. So that's a lot of pressure.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
the same way, me being a mentor to my students now, It's about being there and answering your questions and making sure that you're doing the right things in the market.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have one more question before we kind of wrap this up, which is, it was quite interesting when
Yeah.
you spoke about the price matching and the pegging concept. Especially
Mhm.
you mentioned about a dollar is equivalent to 1.36 change dirhams
Yeah. Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
So why do they do this? I mean, that's the question I had in my mind.
It helps.
Deepak, 1 second. Some fluctuation on the internet. Okay, yeah, you're back. Yes.
Yeah, you're back too. So yeah. So what happens with pegging? Why countries do this? Why economies do this? Is because it makes it easier to trade with other countries. So if anybody buying things from UAE, for example, oil, Abu Dhabi has a lot of oil, so they export oil. So for countries that are paying in dollar, it becomes easier to pay in dirhams and receive payment in dirhams, and the currency is pegged. The value is the same, right? So pegging your currency with the value, fixed value of dollar, it helps other countries to pay you easily in dollars. It becomes easy for you to receive payments. It becomes easy for you to give out payments. So there is hardly any calculations. There's no changes happening every week, every day with the value of payments. Let's say right now I'm thinking, okay, by end of this month I would have consumed a million barrels of oil, so I'll have to make, let's say, $10 million dollars of payment, and then it's not fluctuating. As the end of the month comes, if the price is fluctuating and not pegged, so it could be the $10 million that I need to pay could be $11 million because the currency that I'm paying in is becoming weaker, or it could become $9 million. So you never know what's going to happen. So the costs are not fixed that way. So it becomes easier for countries to make and receive payments if the value is pegged. But it's also a lot of effort from the central bank to actually maintain the value at that point, because whenever the price value of dollar goes high, they have to increase the value of dirham as well equally, correspondingly, right? Whenever value dollar becomes weak, correspondingly they have to undertake economic exercises that will reduce the value of dirham, right? So it's a no pain no gain kind of situation.
Interesting, very interesting. Thank you for sharing amazing information. Anything that you want to share with the audience before we leave for today?
I think this is going to be a really good initiative. I get to share my experience with all of you and talk more about trading and financial markets. So if any suggestions, you can always, people can always give us suggestions and we can start talking about those things.
Yes.
Right. And looking forward to having more such sessions.
Okay, and one personal request, please do suggest any friends that you have, might be from a whole different industry. It doesn't matter, someone who would like to come and share their experience, their knowledge, even if their failure or achievement, anything. This place is open for, let's say, any such things like this, where anyone can take something away from this through watching us, listening, or and getting inspired, or even getting depressed. I mean, I don't want people to get depressed, but still.
No, I think it's a beautiful initiative where everyone has a story to say. So yes, they get a platform and they are heroes for 15 minutes. They're telling their story out.
All right. Thank you. I am hoping, I ask everyone to please put your comments, like, and share this video as much as possible so that it reaches to a lot of people who are interested, and please do contact Dipak. and he will be able to help you mentor, teach, and have an alternative source of income through trading. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
All right.
See you, Deepak.
Thank you.